What are 5 good communication skills? In this video, we're going to talk about the 5 different types of communication skills that you can have that will really set up your career so that you don't have to deal with the pain that some of us, I don't know, the rest of us have had to deal with. So do you want to know what most construction managers fail at? And do you want to know the one key thing that will really hurt you if you don't master it? If you do, you're in the right place because we're going to share that right now. So let me just tell you, I talk a big game and I sound like I know a lot of stuff. It's pretty easy when you're outlining for yourself and bulleting from a script. I mean, I obviously know when I do videos what I'm talking about, but I want you to know that it hasn't always been perfect. I've messed up so many things and I would love to tell you about it one of these days. Millions of dollars of things, hurt myself throughout my career, miscommunicated, offended people, and each time I've gotten the opportunity to apologize and make it right. Most of the time, it centers around communication. There was a point in my career where I was a fantastic builder, superintendent. I knew the building, I knew the drawings, I knew how to schedule, I knew how things came together, but I didn't know how to communicate. I wasn't empathetic, I wasn't connecting, and I remember one time I told a trade partner, I said, if we don't get those air handlers running by July, I'm going to somebody. And I didn't throw my hard hat, but I was mad. I was really not happy. And I got a call from my boss saying, hey Jake, what are you doing? We're gonna have to fix this. And literally, that caused me so much trouble and pain. You cannot push people to do, even if it's the right thing, to do things without connection, and connection comes from good communication. So that's why we're going to talk about this right now. So I just want you to know, I've hit my toe on this over and over, and I don't want that for you, so listen up. Number 1, active listening. Active listening is where you actually hear the other person, you are taking it in and understanding it, you are empathetically attempting to see it from their point of view and not putting your own filters on it, and you are responding in a connected way. Now, I know what you're thinking. I already do that. I love you. Here's a Taylor Swift heart for you. No, you don't. There's no way. And especially all you guys out there, which I can say authentically, you're not listening. You're not even listening to me right now. Why are you pretending? You have got to get to the point where you can't remember what you are going to say. And if you know how you're going to respond, you know what you're going to say to that person, you are not listening. You were thinking about what you wanted to say, and the full information was not making its way to you. By sad experience, quite frankly, I've been forced to listen, and I have gotten to a point where I know that I'm listening when I can't remember what I was going to say. I literally am holding on to what they are telling me, and I understand it from their perspective, and then we can connect and I can respond in an appropriate manner. As a superintendent, you are in the paradox of having to be strong and firm in keeping the project site clean, safe, and organized, but having to be vulnerable, open, and transparent when it comes to human collaboration and communication. This is how you can look at it. You are the command and control dictator when it comes to safety, cleanliness, and organization, but that's the environment. And so the environment is there to support the people, but you show up with the people in an open, listening, empathetic, and vulnerable way, and that environment allows the people to do their best work. So you have got to have both skills. You have to have the stubbornness of being able to maintain operational control, and you have got to have the empathy and vulnerability and transparency to connect with human beings. And it starts with actually listening. Your foreman, your owner, different people, they all talk differently. They all have different preferences. They all have different paradigms. You're not going to understand it very well. You need to sit in that space and clarify. And in a lot of cases, understand when you see that grumpy foreman barking back at you, he or she may be doing his or her best just to communicate and is only frustrated because he or she does not feel listened to. So if you can practice the skill of listening, that is absolutely crucial. The second one is clear and concise expression. So I would add to this the ability to speak up, to speak with volume, and to get to the point. So nowadays, with the distractions that we have, with iPhones, with social media, with sound bites, with shorts, our brains are trained to really only have a very short attention span. I didn't say it was right, but it is how it is. So if you're whispering like this and you're not talking clearly, or you are just rambling on and on, well, you probably think I am, but anyway, rambling on and you're not getting to the point and you're repeating yourself, people are going to check out. That's going to break that communication, and you are not going to have the ability to understand what they're saying, to be able to respond, and they're not going to understand what you're saying. And one time I had a project engineer that would barely speak up, never raise his or her hand and ask questions or participate in meetings, and was just very, very mild, and would then also trail off at the end of what he was saying. And he was like, Jason, I know my worth. This is not a big deal. I'm going to get promoted as fast as anybody else. And I wanted him to get promoted, and I care about him, and I wasn't trying to prove a point. But I left that thinking, well, good luck with that. It's not going to work. You have to know how to speak concisely and clearly, with volume, with passion, with connection, in a very specific and concise way. And that individual is still a project engineer after years and years and years and years, because he was not right about this subject. Don't make the same mistake. Number 3. Let's go ahead and hit the like button. And oh no, actually, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong topic. But while I'm here, we love that we hit 10,000 subscribers recently, that we have just lots of comments coming in. I respond to like 15 to 20 comments on YouTube a day. We love hitting that like button. We love when you help the algorithm. The message is getting out. I constantly hear of people and companies sending these videos out. So what you're doing is working. Thank you for every time you like, comment, or subscribe. You're awesome. So let's get to the real number 3, empathy and understanding. Now, we used to be told that empathy is if somebody's in a hole or a depression or a frustrating situation, that empathy meant jump in that hole with them and experience that, or walk a mile in their shoes. But we have new information out, and you can learn this from Brene Brown if you want, that that's actually not a thing. We can't walk a mile in their shoes, and we can't feel what they feel. The key with empathy is believing them as they're explaining their feelings about something. So if a trade partner is frustrated about a circumstance, or the owner doesn't feel listened to, or your coworker needs this or that or whatever, you don't have to always fundamentally agree, but you at least have to fundamentally agree and believe that's how they feel, and that may be their reality, and that may be your impact. And so instead of being like, that's not real, right? Or, hey, that's not a thing, or, hey, I don't believe you, or I don't care. Those are all non-empathetic things. You can say, okay, I think we can find a win-win with this. I do care about how you feel about this. Now let's start to brainstorm. Let's look at the data, right? That's all you have to do. So being empathetic means that you see the other person as an individual, you believe that they're having a human experience, you fundamentally care about them, and that you're willing to believe their story so that you can form connection and find the win-win. Number 4, nonverbal communication. So body language. This is super crucial. And I do want to say, and this is to help, anybody who either is in this or has learned this, I want you to be careful, okay? Because there's this, and by the way, I love John Wayne movies, and I used to watch the Cowboys and McClintock all the time. I love me some John Wayne, but that John Wayne firm, don't ever let him figure you out exterior, the harshness, right? A lot of us construction superintendents and project managers adopt that. But it's a shield, it's fear, it's woundedness, right? And so our body language, like the furrowed eyebrows and the meanness and the this, right, really form a situation where people won't want to ask questions. People won't want to connect. People won't want to volunteer. People won't want to weigh in and buy into the plan. There won't be as much teaming. You're not a safe place. People are not going to tell you problems that they have on the job site because you've got this grumpy John Wayne, like, I'm going to pull my 6-shooter out kind of look about you. So and I'm not saying that you're bad if you have that. I'm just saying that there isn't anything really vulnerable about those exterior masks. And we have to realize that we as superintendents are human beings too. We've been wounded. We've been through hard things. And so we get the opportunity to work through that, to have a more vulnerable and connected approach, and to use body language to the team's advantage instead of to repel other people, which will create disconnection. And then number 5, adaptability. Everybody communicates differently. Some people are more visual, some people are more audible, some people are more tactile. The real truth is that we're all of those things, but we have different preferences for how we express those things. And so if you can notice that and be more adaptable and custom tailor your communication to the individual, you will be on track. One of the things that I've started doing in trainings is if somebody gets up and asks a question, doesn't understand my verbal explanation, but starts drawing, I'll think to myself, okay, they really want to draw this out, so I'll go draw it out with them. Or if they just want to practice, I'll be like, you know what, let me stop talking. Let's just go practice with this. So be adaptable, watch your team, watch your customer, watch your loss planners, your foreman and your foreman huddles, and make sure that you're being adaptable and you're custom tailoring your communication so that it works for both of you. And by using these communication skills, you're going to win. And one last thing that I do want to say, every construction manager should read How to Win Friends and Influence People. It will tell you exactly how to do that and how to connect better. So I just absolutely love it. Let me give you some things that will really hurt your career that you're going to need to know. Number one, talking too softly. You can't do it in construction. Number two, tail off at the end on volume. You can't do it. You won't keep your audience. Number three, speak so uninterestingly, that's not even a way to say it or a word, but like in such a monotone, boring way that you can't keep people's attention. When we're out here in these huddles and we're talking to hundreds of workers or thousands of workers, or we're with the foreman, we have to keep it to the point and keep it interesting. Number four, not being articulate. You have to be able to communicate your message without droning on and repeating yourself. Five, make sure you're always looking at the people and looking at the crowd. Don't look up at something and be like, well, the safety paperwork for the day says that we should. No, you're going to lose everybody just like I just lost you. Look at the people you're talking to. Take your hands out of your pockets. You need to be out just like I am. This motion is an expression of thought and will help you to communicate. Get your hands out of your pockets and make sure that everything you say has feeling and passion behind it. Sometimes I like to think of a single word that I'm passionate about and loop that into my presentation, and it really, really helps me to connect with what I'm saying and to win over the crowd. And so I hope you've enjoyed these suggestions. If you start implementing this right away, you'll see a massive return, and especially if you read that book. So I'm going to link you to the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I'm going to summarize these points in a blog post so that you can go ahead and take that and start practicing on your job site. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.